What's up, guys? Welcome back once again to Revelation 11:27, my YouTube channel. A place where you can be yourself and where we speak about things that not that many people speak about, right? And I think people should. I think it's so important to speak about the things that we speak about here. Actually, I think it's so important that the things we speak about here should be taught in school. I think school should teach about emotions and how to control them. That's something that school doesn't teach. Or most parents, really. My parents never taught me how to deal with emotions. Instead, they taught me how to just be ashamed of them. But I feel like that's something that I would like to change, right? I feel like in school, children should be taught about spirituality and how to deal with their emotions and how to navigate through life situations instead of, I feel like school puts more emphasis on like finding the square root of 69 or whatever, rather than how to heal your heart so you don't keep on hurting people, right? But I can't do it all. I can't do it all. And that time will come. But I've learned to focus on certain things at certain times. I feel like like I'm low-key at a Hogwarts school of the magic. Yesterday, I had to change my room because, the people in this hotel, very nice. They're like family here. They put me in that room. Everyone knew what happened in that room except me. And like you guys know, right? Like I've explained many times before, I come from a royal bloodline of, spiritualists. Let's just call it like that. High-ranking spiritualists. And the spiritualists in my family are just dark. None of them work in the light, right? Instead, they just do witchcraft and black magic. And they even try to sacrifice me. But I am here to tell the tale, right? I'm here for a reason. I am here because I'm God's chosen. And I am here because regardless of my knowledge and wisdom of the dark, I also have knowledge and wisdom of the light, and I decide to remain in the light, right? I don't harm, I don't hurt anyone, but also this path has taught me a lot, especially on when to use the dark, when to use the dark to defend myself against all this evil, when to use the dark to defend others, when to use the dark to bring righteous justice and judgment. Like yesterday, right? They have moved my room on purpose. And I was unaware of what had happened in that room. Until, right, like 2 readings ago, you guys can see, I started doing my regular readings, and the card health came out in reverse, meaning that someone was in bad health. And then we ended up finding out that there was a baby in bad health. Then Lucas, my dog, I'm so proud of him. Like, I was not aware of his spiritual gifts until yesterday too. I'm just amazed at him, and I'm so proud of him. He literally started barking at the closet. You guys can see it. And I'm like, what the fuck? There's nothing there. And behind the closet, it's just trees. Before the reading, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any presence or anything. And why is that? Because like I said before, right? My family is very dark. Meaning that I have ancestors, not only of the light, and not only of the light, and of the light includes a lot. Angels, the Galactic Federation, those are all high vibrational beings. But also, I am protected, very protected, by the underworld. And for that, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be protected as above, so as below, or however you say that. I'm protected in the heavens and in hell. But really, the reason why I have my spiritual gifts is because my heart has remained pure, right? I never hurt anyone. My intentions, the first thing that comes to my head is never to steal from people or to hurt anyone, no. Right? Throughout my spiritual awakening, I've become very conscious of the power of my magic. And yesterday was a very special moment for me. I was not aware that in that room, a baby was murdered. A baby was sacrificed by her own mother. Kind of like what my mother tried to do to me, right? She took me to my grandfather's house in Cuba, and she had a whole ceremony where she just offered me up, like, for whatever reason, so she could look younger for the rest of her life, so she could extend her lifetime, so she could siphon my spiritual gifts, whatever the reason is. Did not work, which is why I'm in my power, I'm in my energy fully. And because that didn't work, now my mother is suffering the consequences of cancer that I had healed previously on her less than a year ago. She's back with her mental disorder. She's back. All that backfired because I have stood in my power, in my energy. And that's what happens when a sacrifice goes wrong, especially when you try to sacrifice your own child. But like I was saying, the room that I was in yesterday, a child was sacrificed there. And I was not aware of that. And it came out of my reading. And it's like, now it just all makes sense. I kept hearing footsteps before that and like knocks on the door, and Lucas would just bark randomly, but I don't get scared. Like, come on. I'm friends with the angel. And I'm friends with the demons. That is why everyone that has tried to hurt me, everyone that has tried to set me up, to murder me, all of that, whatever demons they've sent me with all of their little rituals and black magic, I've sent those demons right back to have them for lunch and dinner and breakfast. And I still don't do anything, right? I don't send them first. I'm just like, yo, spirit, whoever's sending this energy, send it back times 10. And that is me standing in my power, right? God doesn't want anyone to just let people step over you and you just observe it. No, God doesn't want that. God wants you to step up. God wants you to speak up when you need to. God wants you to defend yourself when you need to. So I just want to make sure that people understand that. Right after my reading, I started to get like just chills all over my body. I'm very sensitive to energy, so I was just like, what is going on? And it just all hit. I also discovered another spiritual gift that I have yesterday. Not only am I a psychic, not only am I a shaman, not only am I a healer, but I'm also a medium. And I have the ability to speak to the dead and communicate with the dead. And I have the ability to help the dead transition into the heavens. Like that child that was murdered in that room for sacrificial purposes by her own mother. That was the second time that I had helped a child transition. The first time, as you guys know, I've made a video on the same channel about the buried baby that's in my mother's backyard, right behind my brother's room, the room where I was staying at. I also, with my intuitive skills, with my psychic abilities, I was able to know what was in that circle of dirt behind the room window. Another baby for sacrificial purposes. Because, these people, especially like my mother and stepfather, they claim to be Jehovah's Witness. Girl, what are you a witness of? You're just a witness of your own crimes, a witness of your own murder. That's just to show you to not believe any of the bullshit that comes out of these religious people's mouths. But anyways, that was the first child that I helped transition. Right? The child, the same feelings, like the same chills that I got yesterday. The same little bit of headache that I got yesterday. The same tension on my shoulders that I got yesterday was the same feeling that I was getting while being in that room at my mother's home. And I had made a promise to that baby that I was going to bring in justice for her or him. And the way that I brought in that justice was to speak up. That's why I made the video, explaining how the baby was sacrificed, who the baby belonged to, the people that live in my mother's garage that my mother turned into an apartment without a permit, right? The family. And I made that baby story public here on my YouTube channel. And that was a way to bring in justice for that innocent child. So his murder doesn't go unnoticed. And like I said, out in the room that I was in yesterday, everyone knew about what happened there except me until I pulled out my cards. And that was such a special moment because I really felt my spiritual growth last night. And I was so proud of myself for how I handled the situation and what I got from it. Come on, a medium too? Like, that is amazing. The fact that I have the ability to help people who have passed away unexpectedly or by murder. The fact that I have the ability to help them just go on in peace is so powerful. And I brought in that child's justice as well by doing my reading and explaining the type of malicious mother that she had and why she would sacrifice her own child. That was on the last reading. I'm not going to repeat that. So I freed her. I had a little moment with her. I even cried because I felt her pain and what she had gone through. It was like, before the reading, it was like she was like trying to get my attention. I was taking baths, and the little thing where the water goes under was making like vibrating sounds so loud. All of the knocking, all of the Lucas barking. She was trying to get my attention, and she finally did. And I was able to spend time with her and have a moment with her, which got very emotional. And I freed her. I told her that to not worry, that she will get her justice, and she will get her judgment, and her mother will pay for what she did to her, right? Because we still have her mother roaming around here, or not. Maybe she's in prison already. So I freed her soul. I freed the child's soul. I let her go. I made her feel comfortable. And I could feel her just be so happy. That felt amazing. That just made me feel so much love for what I do, even more than I've had before. Because now I am even more aware of how powerful and how important my spiritual gifts are in this world. And I'm saying this in the most humble way, but the natural world needs me and the spiritual world adores me. So I don't know what all these people were talking about. Crazy, drug addict, prostitute. Shut the fuck up. And I would have stayed in that room, but the energy there was so intense because of what happened there. It was a murder. So I moved rooms just because, I take very good care of my energy. My energy is so important to me, and how I distribute it on a day-to-day basis is what allows me to stay grounded and also take care of everything that I need to take care of. So I decided to change rooms, and literally right after I changed rooms, like, the energy just changed. But I am so happy that I feel so grateful to have been able to help that child roam freely in the ethers, right? And not let her murder go unnoticed. And right before I left the room, I left her a cookie. I left her some peanut butter, and I left her 2 cheese slices. Snacks that I eat myself. And I know she loved that. I know she appreciated that. Look how black my candles are. But it's crazy how much I grew yesterday, emotionally, spiritually. Ooh, black smoke. And I am so shook about Lucas. I was not aware of his spiritual gifts. But of course he has spiritual gifts. If his daddy is a spiritualist. But yeah. I feel like this hotel is like Hogwarts, school of the magic. And that's amazing. I think it's so important. Because schools don't, people don't really talk about religion at school, which is cool. But spirituality is not a religion. Spirituality, we rely on our spirit, and everyone has one, right? God gave everyone a spirit. And I feel like it's so important to teach children about emotions, about feelings, how to control them, when to use one, when to not, how to use intuition, and also to teach children about their very own spiritual gifts. We're all spiritual beings living a human experience. And most of the world's population just goes their whole lifetime without learning about their spirituality. We all have different spiritual gifts. So imagine what we can all do together. So I think it's time to stop demonizing people who actually have taken time to go within, like me, and find out things about themselves and find out things about the world around them, while others don't do that. While others go their whole lifetime unconscious, unaware, judging, harming others. And they get away with it. They get away with crimes, they get away with stealing, they get away with it. Because even the police, people that are supposed to keep you safe, are not aligned, are not conscious. Instead, they use their animalistic side, they use their frontal lobe. They live the 24 hours of the day in survival mode instead of transferring those waves, those brain waves, to theta and beta waves, which is closer to the pineal gland. I'm sure the right person understood that. But yeah, that's what I wanted to speak about, what happened yesterday. And I'm just so grateful to have learned more about myself and about my spiritual gifts, and it just makes me even more enthusiastic and more passionate about what I do. But yeah, that's the story. See you guys next time.